99th United States Congress. The 99th United States Congress was a meeting of the legislative branch of the United States federal government, composed of the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives. It met in Washington, D.C. from January 3, 1985 to January 3, 1987, during the fifth and sixth years of Ronald Reagan's presidency. The apportionment of seats in the House of Representatives was based on the 20th Census of the United States in 1980. The Republicans maintained control of the Senate, while the Democrats maintained control of the House of Representatives, albeit with both majorities slightly reduced from the 98th Congress. This was the most recent session of Congress prior to the 116th, which featured a Republican Senate/Democratic House split and had a third-party House member. Major events: January 20, 1985, Ronald Reagan was privately sworn in for a second term as U.S. President, publicly sworn in January 21. January 28, 1986, Space Shuttle Challenger disaster, destruction of the shuttle and death of the crew shortly after liftoff. April 15, 1986, Operation El Dorado Canyon, at least 15 people die after United States planes bomb targets in the Libyan capital, Tripoli, and the Benghazi region. June 2, 1986, Senate sessions are broadcast live on video by C-SPAN. October 21, 1986, the Marshall Islands achieved independence from U.S.-administered UN trusteeship and became an associated state under the Compact of Free Association. November 3, 1986, the Federated States of Micronesia achieved independence from U.S.-administered UN trusteeship and became an associated state under the Compact of Free Association. November 3, 1986, Iran-Contra affair. The Lebanese magazine Ash-Shura reported that the United States has been selling weapons to Iran in secret to secure the release of American hostages held by pro-Iranian groups in Lebanon. November 4, 1986, 1986 United States elections. Congressional Democrats regained +8 their Senate majority 55-45 and slightly increased +5 their House majority 258-177. Major legislation: December 12, 1985, Balanced Budget and Emergency Deficit Control Act of 1985, Graham-Rudman-Hollings Balanced Budget Act, Pub. L. 99-177, Title Roman II. December 17, 1985, Gold Bullion Coin Act of 1985, Pub. L. 99-185. April 7, 1986, Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1985, Cobra, Pub. L. 99-272, including Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. May 19, 1986, Firearm Owners Protection Act, Pub. L. 99-308. October 1, 1986, Goldwater Nichols Act, Defense Reorganization, Pub. L. 99-433. October 2, 1986, Comprehensive Anti-Apartheid Act, Pub. L. 99-440, 40, TE 40, TE 40, 440, 40. October 17, 1986, Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act, Pub. L. 99-499, Title Roman III. October 21, 1986, Electronic Communications Privacy Act, Pub. L. 99-508, 808. October 22, 1986, Tax Reform Act of 1986, Pub. 6, Pub. L. 99-514. October 27, 1986, Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986, Pub. 6, Pub. L. 99-570. October 31, 1986, Age Discrimination in Employment Act of 1986, Pub. L. 99-592. November 6, 1986, Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986, Simpson-Mazzoli Act, Pub. L. 99-603, S. 1200. November 17, 1986, Water Resources Development Act of 1986, Pub. L. 99-662. Party Summary. Senate. House of Representatives. Leadership. Senate. President George H. W. Bush R. President pro tempore Strom Thurmond R. Armand 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 R. Majority Republican leadership. Majority Leader Bob Dole. Majority Whip Alan Simpson. Republican Conference Chairman John Chaffee. Republican Conference Secretary Thad Cochran. National Senatorial Committee Chair John Hanks. Policy Committee Chairman William L. Armstrong. Minority Democratic Leadership. Dick Leadership. Minority Leader Robert Byard. Minority Whip Alan Cranston. Democratic Caucus Secretary Daniel Inouye. Democratic Campaign Committee Chairman George J. Mitchell. House of Representatives. Speaker Tip O'Neill D. Neil D. Neil D. Neil D. Neil D. Majority Democratic Leadership. Majority Leader Jim Wright. Majority Whip Tom Foley. Chief Deputy Majority Whip William Volley Alexander Jr. Democratic Caucus Chairman Dick Jeffart. Democratic Caucus Secretary Mary Rose Okar. Democratic Campaign Committee Chairman Tony Seal Ho. Minority Republican Leadership. Minority Leader Robert H. Mitchell. Minority Whip Trent Lott. Chief Deputy Whip Tom Loeffler. Republican Conference Chairman Jack Kemp. Republican Conference Vice Chairman Lynn Morley Martin. Republican Conference Secretary Robert J. Lagomarsino. Policy Committee Chairman Nick Cheney. Republican Campaign Committee Chairman Guy Vander Jagd. Caucuses. Congressional Arts Caucus. Congressional Automotive Caucus. Congressional Black Caucus. Congressional Friends of Ireland Caucus. Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Congressional Pediatric and Adult Hydrocephalus Caucus. Congressional Travel and Tourism Caucus. Congresswomen's Caucus. Men's Caucus. Men's Caucus. House Democratic Caucus. Senate Democratic Caucus. Members. This list is arranged by chamber, then by state. Senators are listed by class, and representatives are listed by district. Senate. Senators are popularly elected statewide every 6 years, with 1/3 beginning new 6-year terms with each Congress in this Congress. Class 3 meant their term ended with this Congress, facing re-election in 1986. Class 1 meant their term began in the last Congress, facing re-election in 1988, and Class 2 meant their term began. House of Representatives. Changes in membership. Senate. House of Representatives. Committees. Lists of committees and their party leaders for members House and Senate of the committees and their assignments. Go into the official congressional directory at the bottom of the article and click on the link in the directory after the pages of terms of service. You will see the committees of the Senate, House standing with subcommittees, select and special and joint, and after the committee pages, you will Senate. Aging Special Chair, H. John Hanks Roman III. Agriculture, Nutrition and Forestry Chair, Jess Helms. Ranking Member, Edward Zorensky. Appropriations Chair, Mark Hatfield. Ranking Member, John C. Stenny. Stennies. Agriculture and Related Agencies Chair, Thad Cochran. Ranking Member, Quentin N. Burdick. Commerce, Justice, State and Judiciary Chair, Paul Laxalt. Ranking Member, Ernest F. Hollings. Defense Chair, Ted Stevens. Ranking Member, John C. Stennies. District of Columbia Chair, Arlen Specter. Ranking Member, Frank Lautenberg. Energy and Water Development Chair, Ted Stevens. Ranking Member, J. Bennett Johnston. Foreign Operations Chair, Bob Caston. Ranking Member, Daniel K. Inouye. HUD Independent Agencies Chair, Jake Garn. Ranking Member, Patrick Leahy. Interior Chair, James A. McClure. Ranking Member, Robert C. Byard. Labor, Health, Education and Welfare Chair, Legislative Branch Chair, Al D'Amato. Ranking Member, Dale Bumpers. Military Construction Chair, Mac Mattingly. Ranking Member, Jim Sassers. Member, Jim Sassers. 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 Transportation Chair, Mark Andrews. Ranking Member, Lawton Chiles. Treasury, Postal Service and General Government Chair, James Abner. Ranking Member, Dennis DeConcini. Armed Services Chair, Barry Goldwater. Ranking Member, Sam Nunn. Military Construction Chair, Strom Thurmond. Ranking Member, Jeff Bingaman. Strategic and Theater Nuclear Forces Chair, John W. Warner. Ranking Member, John W. Warner. Preparedness Chair, Gordon J. Humphrey. Ranking Member, Alan J. Dixon. Sea Power and Force Projection Chair, William S. Cohen. Ranking Member, J. James Exon. Manpower and Personnel Chair, Pete Wilson. Ranking Member, John Glenn. Defense Acquisition Policy Chair, Dan Keel. Ranking Member, Carl Levin. Carl Levin. Banking, Housing and Urban Affairs Chair, Jake Garn. Ranking Member, William Proxmire. Housing and Urban Affairs Chair, Sheik Hecht. Ranking Member, Donald W. Regal, Jr. International Finance and Monetary Policy Chair, H. John Hanks Roman III. Ranking Member, William Proxmire. Financial Institutions and Consumer Affairs Chair, Slade Gorton. Ranking Member, Paul Sarbanes. Securities Chair, Al D'Amato. Ranking Member, Alan Cranston. Economic Policy Chair, Mac Mattingly. Ranking Member, Chris Dodd. Budget Chair, Pete Domnesai. Ranking Member, Lawton Chiles. Commerce, Science and Transportation Chair, John Danforth. Aviation Chair, Nancy Cassabaum. Ranking Member, J. James Exon. Business, Trade and Tourism Chair, Larry Pressler. Ranking Member, Al Gore. Communications Chair, Barry Goldwater. Ranking Member, Ernest F. Hollings. Consumer Chair, Bob Caston. Ranking Member, Wendell Ford. Merchant Marine Chair, Ted Stevens. Ranking Member, Daniel K. Inouye. Science, Technology, and Space Chair, Slade Gorton. Ranking Member, Donald W. Regal, Jr. Surface Transportation Chair, Bob Packwood. Ranking Member, Russell B. Long. National Ocean Policy Study Chair, John Danforth. Energy and Natural Resources Chair, James A. McClure. Ranking Member, J. Bennett Johnston. Energy Regulation and Conservation Chair, Don Nichols. Ranking Member, Howard M. Metzenbaum. Natural Resources Development and Production Chair, John Warner. Ranking Member, John Melcher. Energy Research and Development Chair, Pete Domasai. Ranking Member, Bill Bradley. Water and Power Chair, Frank Murkowski. Ranking Member, Dale Bumpers. Public Lands, Reserved Water and Resource Conservation Chair, Malcolm Wallop. Ranking Member, Dale Bumpers. Environment and Public Works Chair, Robert Stafford. Ranking Member, Lloyd Benson. Environmental Pollution Chair, John Chaffee. Ranking Member, George J. Mitchell. Nuclear Regulation Chair, Alan K. Simpson. Ranking Member, Gary Hart. Water Resources Chair, James Abner. Ranking Member, Daniel Moynihan. Transportation Chair, Steve Sims. Ranking Member, Quentin N. Burdick. Regional and Community Development Chair, Gordon J. Humphrey. Ranking Member, Frank R. Lautenberg. Toxic Substances and Environmental Oversight Chair, David Durenberger. Ranking Member, Max Baucus. Ethics Select Chair, Warren Rudman. Vice Chair, Howell Heflin. Finance Chair, Bob Packwood. Ranking Member, Russell B. Long. Taxation and Debt Management Chair, John H. Chaffee. Ranking Member, Spark Matsunaga. International Trade Chair, John C. Danforth. Ranking Member, Lloyd Benson. Savings, Pensions, and Investment Policy Chair, H. John Haints Roman III. Ranking Member, George J. Mitchell. Energy and Agricultural Taxation Chair, Malcolm Wallop. Ranking Member, Bill Bradley. Bill Bradley. Health Chair, David Durenberger. Ranking Member, Max Baucus. Social Security and Income Maintenance Programs Chair, William L. Armstrong. Ranking Member, Daniel Moynihan. Estate and Gift Taxation Chair, Steve Sims. Ranking Member, Bill Bradley. Bill Bradley. Oversight of the Internal Revenue Service Chair, Bob Dole. Ranking Member, David Pryor. Foreign Relations Chair, Richard Lugar. Ranking Member, Claiborne Pell. Western Hemisphere Affairs Chair, Jess Helms. Ranking Member, Edward Zorinski. International Economic Policy, Oceans and Environment Chair, Charles Matthews. Ranking Member, Chris Dodd. African Affairs Chair, Nancy Casaubon. Ranking Member, John Carrier. 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 John Carrier. Member, John Carrier. Member, Near Eastern and South Asian Affairs Chair, Ruddy Boschwitz. Ranking Member, Paul Sarbanes. European Affairs Chair, Larry Pressler. Ranking Member, Joe Biden. East Asian and Pacific Affairs Chair, Frank Murkowski. Ranking Member, Alan Cranston. Governmental Affairs Chair, Bill Roth. Ranking Member, Thomas F. Eagleton. Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations Chair, Bill Roth. Ranking Member, Sam Nunn. Governmental Efficiency and the District of Columbia Chair, Charles Matthews. Ranking Member, Thomas F. Eagleton. Energy, Nuclear Proliferation and Federal Services Chair, Thad Cochran. Ranking Member, John Glenn. Intergovernmental Relations Chair, David Durenberger. Ranking Member, Lawton Chiles. Civil Service, Post Office and General Services Chair, Ted Stevens. Ranking Member, Al Gore. Oversight of Government Management Chair, William S. Cohen. Ranking Member, Carl Levin. Impeachment of Harry E. Claiborne Select Chair, Charles Matthews. Ranking Member, Indian Affairs Select Chair, Mark Andrews. Judiciary Chair, Strom Thurmond. Ranking Member, Joe Biden. Patents, Copyrights and Trademarks Chair, Charles Matthews. Ranking Member, Patrick Leahy. Criminal Law Chair, Paul Laxalt. Ranking Member, Joe Biden. Constitution Chair, Orrin Hatch. Ranking Member, Dennis DeConcini. Immigration and Refugee Policy Chair, Alan K. Simpson. Ranking Member, Ted Kennedy. Courts Chair, John P. East. Ranking Member, Howell Heflin. Administration Practice and Procedure Chair, Chuck Grassley. Ranking Member, Howard M. Metzenbaum. Security and Terrorism Chair, Jeremiah Denton. Ranking Member, Patrick Leahy. Juvenile Justice Chair, Arlen Specter. Ranking Member, Paul Simon. Intelligence Select Chair, David Durenberger. Vice Chairman, Patrick Leahy. Labor and Human Resources Chair, Orrin Hatch. Ranking Member, Ted Kennedy. Labor Chair, Don Nichols. Ranking Member, Howard M. Metzenbaum. Education, Arts and Humanities Chair, Robert Stafford. Ranking Member, Claiborne Pell. Employment and Productivity Chair, Dan Keel. Ranking Member, Paul Simon. Handicapped Chair, Lowell P. Waker. Ranking Member, John Carrier. Member, John Carrier. On Carriers and Carriers and Carrier. Children, Family, Drugs and Alcoholism Chair, Paula Hawkins. Ranking Member, Chris Dodd. Aging Chair, Chuck Grassley. Ranking Member, Spark Matsunaga. Nutrition and Human Needs, Select Chair, Data Unknown/Missing. Rules and Administration Chair, Charles Matthews. Ranking Member, Wendell H. Ford. Security and Cooperation in Europe Special Chair, Data Unknown/Missing. Small Business Chair, Lowell P. Waker Jr. Ranking Member, Dale Bumpers. Urban and Rural Economic Development Chair, Al D'Amato. Ranking Member, Alan J. Dixon. Government Procurement Chair, Don Nichols. Ranking Member, Carl Levin. Productivity and Competition Chair, Innovation and Technology Chair, Warren Rudman. Ranking Member, David L. Barron. Export Promotion and Market Development Chair, Ruddy Boschwitz. Ranking Member, Max Baucus. Small Business Family Farm Chair, Larry Pressler. Ranking Member, Sam Nunn. Entrepreneurship and Special Problems Facing Small Business Chair, Bob Caston. Ranking Member, Jim Sassers. Veterans Affairs Chair, Frank Murkowski. Ranking Member, Alan Cranston. Whole, 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 whole. House of Representatives. Aging Select Chair, Edward Roybal. Agriculture Chair, Kika de la Garza. Ranking Member, Edward Madigan. Cotton, Rice and Sugar Chair, Jerry Huckabee. Ranking Member, Arlen Stangeland. Livestock, Dairy and Poultry Chair, Tony Seelho. Ranking Member, Jim Jeffords. Tobacco and Peanuts Chair, Charlie Rose. Ranking Member, Larry J. Hopkins. Wheat, Soybeans and Feed Grains Chair, Tom Foley. Ranking Member, Ron Marleny. Conservation Credit and Rural Development Chair, Ed Jones. Ranking Member, E. Thomas Coleman. Department Operations Research and Foreign Agriculture Chair, Berkeley Bedell. Ranking Member, Pat Roberts. Domestic Marketing, Consumer Relations and Nutrition Chair, Leon Panetta. Ranking Member, Bill Emerson. Forests, Family Farms and Energy Chair, Charles Whitley. Charles Whitley. Appropriations Chair, Jamie L. Witten. Ranking Member, Sid Morrison. Agriculture, Rural Development, and Related Agencies Chair, Jamie Witten. Ranking Member, Silvio O. Commerce, Justice, State, and the Judiciary Chair, Neil Edward Smith. Ranking Member, Virginia Smith. Defense Chair, Joseph P. Adabo. Ranking Member, George M. O'Brien. District of Columbia Chair, Julian C. Dixon. Ranking Member, Joseph M. McDade. Energy and Water Development Chair, Tom Bevel. Ranking Member, Lawrence Coughlin. Foreign Operations Chair, David Obey. Ranking Member, John T. Myers. HUD Independent Agencies Chair, Edward P. Boland. Ranking Member, Bill Green. Interior Chair, Sidney Yates. Ranking Member, Ralph Regular. Labor, Health, and Human Services Chair, William H. Natcher. Ranking Member, Silvio O. Legislative Chair, Victor Fazio. Ranking Member, Jerry Lewis. Military Construction Chair, Bill Hefner. Ranking Member, Mickey Edwards. Member, Mickey Edwards. Transportation Chair, William Lehman. Ranking Member, Lawrence Coughlin. Treasury, Postal Service and General Government Chair, Edward Roybal. Ranking Member, Joe Skeen. Armed Services Chair, Les Aspin. Ranking Member, William L. Dickinson. Military Personnel and Compensation Chair, Edward Roybal. Ranking Member, Elwood Hillies. Research and Development Chair, Charles Melvin Price. Ranking Member, William L. Dickinson. Sea Power Strategic and Critical Materials Chair, Charles Edward Bennett. Ranking Member, Floyd Spence. Procurement and Military Nuclear Systems Chair, Samuel S. Stratton. Ranking Member, Marjorie S. Holt. Investigations Chair, Bill Nishalls. Ranking Member, Larry J. Hopkins. Readiness Chair, Dan Daniel. Ranking Member, G. William Whitehurst. Morale, Welfare and Recreation MWR Panel Chair, Dan Daniel. Ranking Member, G. William Whitehurst. Military Installations and Facilities Chair, Ron Dellums. Ranking Member, Ken Kramer. Banking, Finance and Urban Affairs Chair, Fernand St. Germain. Ranking Member, Chalmers P. Wiley. Financial Institutions Supervision, Regulation and Insurance Chair, Fernand St. Germain. Ranking Member, Chalmers P. Wiley. Housing and Community Development Chair, Henry B. Gonzalez. Ranking Member, Stuart B. McKinney. Consumer Affairs and Coinage Chair, Frank Annunzio. Ranking Member, John P. Domestic Monetary Policy Chair, Walter E. Fauntroy. Ranking Member, Bill McCollum. International Finance, Trade and Monetary Policy Chair, Stephen L. Neal. Ranking Member, Jim Leach. General Oversight and Renegotiation Chair, Carol Hubbard. Ranking Member, Stanford Paris. Economic Stabilization Chair, John J. Laffhouse. Ranking Member, Norman D. Shumway. International Development Institutions and Finance Chair, Sam Lundeen. Ranking Member, Doug B. Uter. Budget Chair, William H. Gray, Ranking Member, Del Latitude, Del Latitude, Del Latitude. Defense and International Affairs Chair, Thomas J. Downey, Ranking Member, Bobby Fiedler. Economic Policy Chair, Mike Lowry, Ranking Member, Jack Kemp. Budget Process Chair, Butler Derrick, Ranking Member, Lynn Morley Martin. State and Local Government Chair, George Miller, Ranking Member, Connie Mack Roman III. Human Resources Chair, Pat Williams, Ranking Member, Bill Goodling, Hill Goodling, Hill Goodling, Hill Goodling. Community and Natural Resources Chair, Howard Walp, Ranking Member, Tom Loeffler. Health Chair, Martin Frost, Ranking Member, Willis D. Gradison, Jr. Income Security Chair, Victor H. Fazio, Ranking Member, W. Henson Moore, Children, Youth and Families Select Chair, George Miller, 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 George Miller. District of Columbia Chair, Ron Dellums, Ranking Member, Stuart B. McKinney. Fiscal Affairs and Health Chair, Walter E. Fauntroy, Ranking Member, Stuart McKinney. Government Operations and Metropolitan Affairs Chair, Michael D. Barnes, Ranking Member, Stanford Paris. Judiciary and Education Chair, Mervyn M. Dimely, Ranking Member, Thomas J. Bliley, Jr. Education and Labor Chair, Augustus F. Hawkins, Ranking Member, Jim Jeffords. Elementary, Secondary, and Vocational Education Chair, Augustus F. Hawkins, Ranking Member, William F. Goodling. Post-Secondary Education Chair, William D. Ford, Ranking Member, E. Thomas Coleman. Health and Safety Chair, Joseph M. Gatos, Ranking Member, Rod Chandler. Labor Management Relations Chair, Bill Clay, Ranking Member, Tom Petrier. Labor Standards Chair, Austin J. Murphy, Ranking Member, Tom Petrier. Human Resources Chair, Dale E. Kildee, Ranking Member, Tom Talk. Select Education Chair, Pat Williams, Ranking Member, Steve Bartlett. Employment Opportunities Chair, Matthew G. Martinez, Ranking Member, Steve Gunderson. Energy and Commerce Chair, John Dingell, Ranking Member, Jim Broyhill. Oversight and Investigations Chair, John Dingell, Ranking Member, Jim Broyhill. Health and the Environment Chair, Henry Waxman, Ranking Member, Edward Madigan. Telecommunications, Consumer Protection and Finance Chair, Timothy Worth, Ranking Member, Matthew J. Rinaldo. Fossil and Synthetic Fuels Chair, Phil Sharp, Ranking Member, William E. Dannemeyer, Commerce, Transportation and Tourism Chair, James J. Florio, Ranking Member, Norman F. Lent. Energy Conservation and Power Chair, Ed Markey, Ranking Member, Carlos J. Moorhead. Foreign Affairs Chair, Dante Fassel, Ranking Member, William S. Broomfield. Arms Control, International Security and Science Chair, Dante Fassel, Ranking Member, William S. Broomfield. Europe and the Middle East Chair, Lee H. Hamilton, Ranking Member, Benjamin A. Gilman. Human Rights and International Organizations Chair, Gus Yatron, Ranking Member, Gerald B. H. Solomon. International Economic Policy and Trade Chair, Stephen J. Solars, Ranking Member, Toby Roth. Asian and Pacific Affairs Chair, Don Bonker, Ranking Member, Jim Leach. International Operations Chair, Dan Micah, Ranking Member, Olympia J. Snow. Western Hemisphere Affairs Chair, Michael D. Barnes, Ranking Member, Robert J. Lagomarsino. Africa Chair, Howard Walp, Ranking Member, Mark Siljander. Government Operations Chair Jack Brooks, Ranking Member Frank Horton, Legislation and National Security Chair Jack Brooks, Ranking Member Frank Horton, Government Activities and Transportation Chair Cardis Collins, Ranking Member Al McCandless, Government Information and Individual Rights Chair Glenn English, Ranking Member Thomas N. Kindness, in Governmental Relations and Human Resources Chair Ted Wace, Ranking Member Robert S. Walker, Environment, Energy and Natural Resources Chair Mike Sinar, Ranking Member William F. Klinger, Jr. Commerce, Consumer and Monetary Affairs Chair Doug Barnard, Ranking Member Larry E. Craig, Employment and Housing Chair Barney Frank, Ranking Member Howard C. Nielsen, House Administration Chair Frank Annunzio, Ranking Member Bill Frenzel, Accounts Chair Joseph Gatos, Ranking Member Robert E. Badham, Services Chair Ed Jones, Ranking Member William L. Dickinson, Office Systems Chair Charlie Rose, Ranking Member Bill Thomas, Personnel and Police Chair Leon Panetta, Ranking Member Pat Roberts, Elections Chair Al Swift, Ranking Member Bill Thomas, Procurement and Printing Chair Tom Foley, Ranking Member Newt Gingrich, Hunger Select Chair Mickey Leland, Interior and Insular Affairs Chair Mo Udall, Ranking Member Don Young, Energy and the Environment Chair Mo Udall, Ranking Member Manuel Lujan Jr. Public Lands Chair John F. Saberling, Ranking Member Ron Marleny, General Oversight, Northwest Power and Forest Management Chair Jim Weaver, Ranking Member Chip Pashian, Water and Power Resources Chair George Miller, Ranking Member Dick Cheney, Mining and Natural Resources Chair Nickra Hall, Ranking Member Larry E. Craig, National Parks and Recreation Chair Bruce Vento, Ranking Member Robert J. Lagomarsino, Judiciary Chair Peter W. Rodino, Ranking Member Hamilton Fish Roman 4, Immigration, Refugees and International Law Chair Romano L. Mazzali, Ranking Member Dan Longren, Administrative Law and Governmental Relations Chair Sam B. Hall, Jr., Ranking Member Thomas N. Kindness, Courts, Civil Liberties and the Administration of Justice Chair Robert W. Castamayor, Ranking Member Carlos J. Moorhead, Civil and Constitutional Rights Chair Don Edwards, Ranking Member Jim Sensenbrenner, Monopolies and Commercial Law Chair Peter W. Rodino, Ranking Member Hamilton Fish Roman 4, Crime Chair William J. Hughes, Ranking Member Bill McCollum, Criminal Justice Chair John Kinnears, Ranking Member George W. Gekas, Merchant Marine and Fisheries Chair Walter B. Jones, S.R., Ranking Member Norman F. Lent, Merchant Marine Chair Mario Baidi, Ranking Member Gene Snyder, Fisheries, Wildlife Conservation and the Environment Chair John Breaux, Ranking Member Don Young, Oceanography Chair Barbara Mikulski, Ranking Member Norman D. Shumway, Panama Canal and Outer Continental Stuff Chair Mike Lowry, Ranking Member Jack Fields, Coast Guard and Navigation Chair Jerry Studds, Ranking Member Robert W. Davis, Oversight and Investigations Chair Walter B. Jones, S.R., Ranking Member William Carney, Narcotics Abuse and Control Select Chair Charles B. Rangel, Post Office and Civil Service Chair Jack Brooks, Ranking Member Jean Taylor. Civil Service Chair Patricia Schroeder. Ranking Member Chip Pashian. Census and Population Chair Robert Garcia. Ranking Member James V. Hansen. Postal Operations and Services Chair Mickey Leland. Ranking Member Frank Horton. Compensation and Employee Benefits Chair Mary Rose O'Carr. Ranking Member John T. Myers. Human Resources Chair Gary Ackerman. Ranking Member Dan Burton. Investigations Chair Jerry Sikorsky. Ranking Member Jean Taylor. Postal Personnel and Modernization Chair Mervyn M. Dimely. Ranking Member Dan Burton. Public Works and Transportation Chair James J. Howard. Ranking Member Gene Snyder and 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 Snyder. Aviation Chair Norman Y. Minta. Ranking Member John Paul Hammerschmidt. Economic Development Chair Henry J. Nowak. Ranking Member William F. Klinger, Jr., 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 Jr. Investigations and Oversight Chair Jim Oberstar. Ranking Member Newt Gingrich. Public Buildings and Grounds Chair Robert A. Young. Ranking Member E. Clay Shaw, Jr. Surface Transportation Chair Glenn M. Anderson. Ranking Member Bud Shuster, 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 Bud Shuster. Water Resources Chair Robert A. Rowe. Ranking Member Arlen Stangeland. Rules Chair Claude Pepper. Ranking Member Jimmy Quillen. The Legislative Process Chair Butler Derrick. Ranking Member Trent Lott. Rules of the House Chair Joe Moakley. Ranking Member Jean Taylor. Science and Technology Chair Don Fuqua. Ranking Member Manuel Lugin, Jr. Energy Development and Applications Chair Don Fuqua. Ranking Member Jim Sensenbrenner. Natural Resources, Agriculture Research and Environment Chair James H. Schuer. Ranking Member Claudine Schneider. Schneider. Energy Research and Production Chair Marilyn Lloyd. Ranking Member Sid Morrison. Science, Research and Technology Chair Doug Walgren. Ranking Member Sherwood Boltlert. Transportation, Aviation and Materials Chair Dan Glickman. Ranking Member Tom Lewis. Investigations and Oversight Chair Harold Volkner. Ranking Member Ron Packard. Space Science and Applications Chair Bill Nelson. Ranking Member Robert S. Walker. Small Business Chair Perrin Mitchell. Ranking Member Joseph M. McDade. SBA and SBIC Authority, Minority Enterprise and General Small Business Problems Chair Perrin Mitchell. Ranking Member Joseph M. McDade. General Oversight and the Economy Chair Nicholas Mavrules. Ranking Member Silvio O. Contentit. Antitrust and Restraint of Trade Activities Affecting Small Business Chair Charles Floyd Hatcher. Ranking Member Vin Weber. Energy, Environment and Safety Issues Affecting Small Business Chair Charles W. Stenholm. Ranking Member William S. Broomfield. Tax, Access to Equity Capital and Business Opportunities Chair Tom Lukin. Ranking Member John P. Hilo. John P. Hilo. Export Opportunities and Special Small Business Problems Chair Ike Skelton. Ranking Member Andy Ireland. Standards of Official Conduct Chair Julian C. Dixon, Ranking Member; Floyd Spence, Veterans Affairs Chair; Gillespie v. Montgomery, Ranking Member; John Paul Hammerschmidt, Oversight and Investigations Chair; Sonny Montgomery, Ranking Member; Elwood Hillies, Hospitals and Health Care Chair; Bob Edgar, Ranking Member; John Paul Hammerschmidt, Education, Training and Employment Chair; Tom Daschle, Ranking Member; Bob McEwen, Compensation, Pension and Insurance Chair; Douglas Applegate, Ranking Member; Gerald B. H. Solomon, Housing and Memorial Affairs Chair; Richard Shelby, Ranking Member; Chris Smith, Ways and Means Chair; Dan Rostenkowski, Ranking Member; John J. Duncan, Trade Chair; Sam Gibbons, Ranking Member; Phil Crane, Oversight Chair; J. Pickle, Ranking Member; Richard T. Schulz, Select Revenue Measures Chair; Charles Rangel, Ranking Member; Guy Vanderjagt, Health Chair; Pete Stark, Ranking Member; Bill Gradison, Social Security Chair; James Robert Jones, Ranking Member; Bill Archer, Bill Archer, Public Assistance and Unemployment Compensation Chair; Harold Ford Esser, Ranking Member; Carol A. Campbell, Jr., 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 L. Jr., 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 Whole, 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 Joint Committees. Economic Chair, Rep. David Obey, Vice Chair, Sen. James Abner. Taxation Chair, Rep. Dan Rostenkowski, Vice Chair, Sen. Bob Packwood. The Library Chair, Rep. Frank Annunzio, Vice Chair, Sen. Charles Matthews. Printing Chair, Sen. Charles Matthews, Vice Chair, Rep. Frank Annunzio. Employees. Legislative Branch Agency Directors. Architect of the Capitol, George M. White. Attending Physician of the United States Congress, Freeman H. Carey, until 1986. William Narva, from 1986. Comptroller General of the United States, Charles A. Boschuscher, 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 Boschuscher. Director of the Congressional Budget Office, Rudolph G. Penner. G. Penner. Librarian of Congress, Daniel J. Borston. Public Printer of the United States, Ralph E. Kennikel, Jr. L. Jr. Senate. Chaplain Richard C. Haverson, Presbyterian. Curator James R. Ketchum. Historian Richard A. Baker. Parliamentarian Bob Dove. Secretary Joan L. Cole. Librarian Roger K. Haley. Secretary for the Majority Howard O. Green, Jr. Secretary for the Minority David Pratt. Sergeant at Arms Larry E. Smith. Ernest E. Garcia, from June 3, 1985. House of Representatives. Chaplain James David Ford Lutheran. Clerk Benjamin J. Guthrie. Guthrie. Doorkeeper James T. Molloy. Historian Ray Smock. Reading Clerks Meg Goats D. and Bob Berriar. Parliamentarian William H. Brown. Postmaster Robert V. Rotary, Sergeant at Arms Jack Russ. Jack Russ, 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 Jack Russ,